What's going on, gang? How you guys doing here? It's Will Patterson here at Tight End Loose Out. We have a very, very special show today, folks. Let me tell you something. A guy that I admire so much, and to have him on the show here today is going to mean the world to me. I'm telling you guys right now, I've had a lot of great guests on here, and let me tell you, this guy is right up there at the very top of them with me. Real good friend. My dad loved this guy. He really did. So that's why this is going to mean so much to me, folks. But thank you for coming on Tight End Loose Out. I'm your host, Will Patterson, and I have my co-host, Dynamite Dave Wallencheck, ladies and gentlemen.
What's up, ladies and gentlemen? Hopefully you guys are having a fantastic evening. Beautiful weather here in Northeast Ohio, and a high miler weekend at Sandusky Speedway is officially kicking off today. So racing here on a Wednesday evening at Sandusky Speedway, and the weather's fantastic for that. Can't ask for a better Wednesday, besides having Tight End Loose Out with us here each and every Wednesday on the Redline Network and on Redline Radio. Real quick, ladies and gentlemen, if you guys are watching, we ask that you guys please do us one thing, that is go like and share the show. Like and share the show. Make sure you get all your people over to there, because we got some news from one of the, like Willie said, I had an opportunity to work with this guy up in a tower up at Lorraine when I was out there, and he was calling the 350 Supers. So Larry Booz, ladies and gentlemen, will be our guest here a little bit later. But Willie, how was your week? I know you got a lot to talk about, and you're excited about getting back to your old stomping grounds of Sandusky Speedway, back up on the flag stand.
Oh yeah, folks. Oh yeah, definitely. Very much excited to go back to Sandusky this weekend. For you guys that don't know, that have not watched the show, I will be flagging Friday night and Saturday night at the High Miler Nationals, my home track, the track that I love, the track that I grew up at, the track where you're going to hear Larry tell some funny stories about. And knowing me literally all my life, the first time I went to Sandusky Speedway, I was 3 years old, and Larry's known me that long. And I'm 49 years old, folks. So Larry's probably like, oh, Jesus, you guys I'm getting old. So Larry's watched a lot of us grow up there at that track. Larry left us for a little bit to go on to bigger and better things, and maybe we might touch on that. I'm going to try to stick with High Miler, folks, but it is High Miler weekend. This is a High Miler show. We're going to try to go and keep it into that, and we're going to talk with Larry about, is it the Classic or is it the Nationals? I know all the T-shirts say Nationals, but we'll get into that type of stuff too. But with that first, Dave, how was your weekend?
Oh, my weekend was fantastic. Another weekend out at Painesville Speedway. On Friday to Saturday portion of our show at Lorraine. Unfortunately, Mother Nature won again, got us rained out. Well, weathered out. It was supposed to rain. It didn't rain at all. It rained a little bit, but it is what it is. That's why Randy and them make the tough calls each and every week, whether to race or not. But hey, you got to do what you got to do, especially in short track racing here in Ohio. You never know. Could be sunny and shiny on one side of the street and snowing or raining on the other side. That's how it works.
That's no lie, Dave. That's no lie at all. It's a thankless job being a track owner and being a track worker. I'm a firm believer of that 100%. So, you're damned if you do, you're damned if you don't. So,
they never go on Facebook or anything or give you a pat on the back when you do things right.
Right.
They always get on Facebook when you're doing the things wrong. And if they
they'll throw your ass under the bus when you're doing something wrong. I will say this, and we'll probably talk with our guest about this, though, but I'm not a fan of calling the races early, though. That's me personally. I like to see how the day's going to go, how the radar is going to go. Everybody knows weather in Ohio, give it 10 minutes, it's going to change, So could he have gotten the race in? I don't think so. I had seen that it was raining there by 7:00. So I think Randy made the right call, but there was other people on there. Brian Nolan totally just wanted to beat him up because he wanted to go in the Hall of Fame. So it's neither here nor there. And it's like I said, it's a thankless job. But with that being said, let's get into our sponsors, Dave. We can get this show on the road here. Everybody's here to listen to Larry and not us.
All right. So hold on one second. Let me pull these sponsors up for you there, Willie.
Yep. So, folks, As you guys all know, this is the Fisher Custom Printing Studio. I am your host, Will Patterson, and our first sponsor is Fisher Custom Printing. Fisher Custom Printing, based out of Wellington, Ohio. Their phone number is 440-371-8424. They do all sorts of type of promotional things. So if you guys need cups or glasses or koozies or t-shirts or signs just like this you see behind me, get a hold of Fisher Custom Printing. They're a proud sponsor here, Tight End Loose Out. Get a hold of Clay and Bethany. Let them know that Tight End Loose Out sent you, and you go ahead and get yourself a 10% discount. That's Fisher Custom Printing at 440-371-8424. Our next sponsor is Kingsley Mowing. Kingsley Mowing, based out of Oswego, New York. Kingsley Mowing's phone number is 315-751-1160. If you have any type of mowing needs that you need around the Oswego area, go ahead and get a hold of Jason Kingsley. He'll be more than happy to go ahead and give you a hand. And also, promo code, like I tell you guys, it's the phrase that pays. Tight End Loose Out. You get yourself a 10% discount, and you might get yourself another 10% discount if you say, I love the black guy, or DJ Sucks. So, or DJ Teats. If you guys can't understand that one, I'm sure you guys can understand the other promo codes, though. So he pays me to say it. It's not my fault that it hurts my lips and my tongue to say it. So, all righty. And then we got Catalone's Pizzeria. You'll never find a meatier calzone than at Catalone's. That's right. Based out of Hannibal, New York, home of the stuffed crust. Nobody stuffs a crust like Big Zach. And then we got Rupert's Party Rentals. Rupert Party Rentals, based out of the Oswego, New York area. Phone number 315-532-4304. Or you can get a hold of them at rupertpartyrentals@yahoo.com. Rupert Party Rentals, they have chairs, tables, tents, dunk tanks, and bounce houses. So let me just let you guys know something right now. I talked with Rupert today. He's at Sandusky Speedway. He's there. He's ready to go. He's camping out. And it's not official, but we will have a dunk tank on Saturday at the camp for the Calcutta. We are looking for drivers. We just need to go ahead and get some information on whether we can or cannot do it. But tentatively, this is going to happen. And any money that we raise from the dunk tank, that we're going to get the drivers, and yes, even myself is going to get into the dunk tank, and it's going to be, we're going to pay to throw the balls, I guess we want to say. So, we're not sure what it's going to be, but maybe you'll get 5 balls for $20, or maybe you'll get 5 for 10. However, we'll figure it out. We haven't got the details all together yet, but it'll go on for about an hour, hour and a half. And whatever money that gets made, a third of it will go to the SBS, a third of it will go to the 350s, and a third of it will go to the big block racers. So, guys, if you guys are up for it, I'm telling you guys right now, I need some drivers. So get a hold of me, and I'm also going to do it too. Either I'll be the first one or I'm going to be the last one, and we're going to have some fun. And you guys ever been out to our camp out there at Oswego? This is what we're going to do it. So you guys can go ahead and thank the sponsor, Rupert Party Rentals there. And again, their phone number is 315-532-4304. And then we got Al Miller. Al Miller, the proud owner of the number 69 350 Super Modified. Al will have the car out there with Clay in it. And good luck, Al. I'll be rooting for you guys from the flag stand. Not too much because I have to stay biased this weekend. But, you kind of pull at the heartstrings, though. So if you guys are in the lead, and if somebody tries to come past you, maybe I'll just throw the black flag at those guys, So what do you think, Al? I'm sure Al's probably all for that. So just kidding, guys. Just kidding. I won't do that. Larry's on here like, you better not. So no, but good luck this weekend to the Al Miller Racing team and Clay. And I'll be waving at you up there on the flag stand, Clay. And then you got Atkins Glass. Atkins Glass, based out of Sandusky Speedway, Sandusky, Ohio. Atkins Glass does all your automotive glass needs that you might have. They do RVs. They do cars. Good people. Phone number is 425-8421. That's Randall and Courtney Atkins, Atkins Glass. And then we got a couple more. We got JC Custom Woodworking. Nobody plays with their wood better than JC. JC Custom Woodworking. You'll find them on Facebook. And I'm telling you guys right now, JC does really good work. We're going to start something here. I just got over 1,000 followers on the page. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take all those names and I'm going to put them into a hat. And we're going to draw out a name and we're going to go ahead and we're going to give you guys something special. I think you guys are going to really like it. I'm going to go ahead and make a real nice post on it. Maybe what we'll do is whoever shares the next show and with the followers, and they'll go ahead and get it, and we'll pay for shipping and get it shipped to your house. I think you guys will like it. JC is going to go ahead and make it up. He's going to send me some pictures, and we're going to go ahead and send it to you guys. And it's very patriotic. I'll just go ahead and say that much right now. And then we got Fowler's Bush Trimming. Nobody can trim the big bush better than Lenny. At Fowler's Bush Trimming, no bush is too tough. That's Fowler's Bush Trimming. And then we got, it's here, Big Chief Tax Service. Nobody cooks the books better than the Big Chief. Big Chief Tax Service. You guys got any taxes going on? Get a hold of Greg Calacerdo. Telling you guys right now, nobody cooks the books better than the Big Chief. That's Greg Calacerdo, based out of Oswego, New York. And that is all for our sponsors, Dave. I got those done and out of the way. Did I miss anybody? I don't think so. I got everybody. Yep, Al Miller. Yep, Rupert's, Fowler's. Yep, we are good. We got all of our sponsors. We're running through here. And then let's talk about some racing. We had some racing, some super modified racing up at Oswego, and it just wouldn't be a good racing if there wasn't a little bit of drama on Saturday up there at the Big O. But we're always, like we do here at Tight End Loose Out, we save the best drama for last. So I'd just like to go ahead and thank my New York connections for getting a hold of me and letting me know what's going on, because I was not aware of this until they told me. And I got 2, maybe 3 cents to throw in on it. But we had the SBS class. They were their first feature out on the night, and we had 5th place in the feature was Carter Gates. 4th place was DJ Schumann. 3rd place was Brad Haynes. 2nd place was Drew Paxcuzzi. And 1st place was the capper, Dan Kapazinski. Dan Kapazinski kind of dropped a hint that he might be retiring at the end of the year. And I think that's going to be a big loss for racing. But with that being said, though, too, I don't know if Dan's going to step fully away or not. I think Dan knows something that we all don't know, that I might know, if you know what I mean. So let's just look to see what Dan's going to have to say about the 2026 season. I'm going to be real interested to see what Dan Kapazinski, where he's at and what he's going to be doing. And then we had the 350 super feature. We had Talon Hawksby finishing 5th. 4th place was Nick Barzee. 3rd place was Kyle Perry. Kyle, like, what the hell? Either you win or finish 2nd. Now you're finishing 3rd? Like, dude, I talked to Kyle on Facebook. He was very tempted, he said, on going down to Sandusky this weekend. But he said has a winning car that he knows that thinks he can win at and on dirt. So he's going to go race the dirt car this weekend. I was like, oh man, I'd love to see him there, but you know, he wasn't able to make it. So Kyle Perry finished 3rd. Dave Cliff wanted to finish in 2nd. Dave Cliff is going to make the journey down to Sandusky Speedway for the High Miler Nationals. That was great to see him post that. And I can't wait to see what he does. Dave, if you do pass the 69, I will not throw out a black flag. All right. Just kidding, guys. 1st place, first time winner, Dawson Hawksby. Congratulations, Dawson, on your first win there at Oswego. I'm sure that just means the world to you. I seen your brother come over and give you a big hug over there at Victory Lane. That had to be awesome, man. And I'm going to have to get the Hawksby brothers on the show here, man. It just makes sense to go ahead and get both those guys on here. So congratulations to Dawson on your first win, buddy. And I'm sure it's one of many more to come, you know, out there at the Big O and maybe other places also in the future. And then we have the super modified race. Now we're going to get into a little bit of some controversy here. Okay. So Oswego decided they wanted to go with this money one deal. All right. Where the top 12 are going to get inverted. And, this guy's got to start 12th because he's leading points or has the most money won. And the guy that's sitting 12th that doesn't have that many points is going to start on the pole. All right. You created this monster, Oswego. You created this monster. You're the one that wanted to put that guy on money one up on the stump. And for you guys that don't know, for you Northerners, that means on the pole. All right. Then you have big dog Lou LeVay Sr. He's starting on the pole. And what do? You listen to a few drivers. You let as they say, you let the prisoners run the asylum. And you tell big dog, you know what? You're going to start 10th. Now, what number did that come out of? 10th. So now let's put him in front of the top 2 points getters or money getters. That makes total sense. Not scratch, not behind the fast guys. Let's put him 10th instead. So I guess Big Dog said, you know what? I'm going to load the car up and I'm not even going to race the feature. So one thing that you have to understand, this is for all racetracks, not just Oswego, this is for all tracks. Don't let the prisoners run the asylum. For years and years and years, there's been slow guys on the front row. You get around them, all right? I don't know what to tell you. You got to figure it out. It's your job as a driver to get around that guy. If you don't like it, then load up. Or tell Oswego, your track that you race at or any other local track you race at, to fix the lineup, fix the rule. You don't like it. But you can't go ahead and penalize a guy because he's slow, because he's following what's going on. This is what was given to him. He got to start on the front row. I don't care if he didn't pass anybody in the heat race. It doesn't matter. So racetracks, don't let the prisoners run the asylum or change your rules to where it's fair for everybody. And I personally think he should have started on the pole, whether it would have screwed my driver or not, And to be honest, I picked my driver was Dave Danzer, the same guy that got in a jingle with him in the heat race in my fantasy league. So it is whatever it is. Take it however you want. So with that being said, fifth place was Logan Revels. Fourth place, I almost all backwards here. Fourth place was Dave the Shoe 2 Schulich. Third place was Otto Sitterly. Second place was Jeffrey Abel. This dude is on a just podium hot streak right now. He is tearing it up right now on the podium. He hasn't got the win yet, but it's coming. Then you got first places, Josh Sokolik. Josh Sokolik, second win this year as a rookie. All right. I don't know what the rookie record is out there at Sandusky for feature wins in the super modifieds, but he's got to be getting close to this record. I'm just telling you guys right now. The kid is gifted. I was talking to a friend of mine today. Pardon me, I'm a little parched. And my friend, literally, we were talking. I said, this kid, it's a matter of time before he leaves super modifieds. He's going places. I know he doesn't have the big pocketbook or anything like that, but maybe some owner might get behind him and say, hey, look, man, let's go modified racing, So unfortunately, folks, enjoy this Josh Sokolik kid. He's only going to be around a little bit longer. I don't see him being around much longer. That's just my personal opinion. So with that being said, that was our super modified results from Oswego Speedway. I actually have the super modified fantasy league. The top 10 in points are, and we're going to go from 10th all the way up to first. There's some ties, so there'll be more than 10. But I am 10th. We have Debbie is 9th. Sam is 8th. Fowler is 7th. Tracy Catalone is 6th. Sue was at 5th. Tom is fourth. Myers is fourth. Clary is third. Catalone is second. And Rupert, sponsor of the show, Dennis Rupert, he is leading points right now in Fantasy League. So I'm going to go ahead and put our Fantasy League results up here. Maybe I'll fall out of the top 10. I didn't have a good heat race with Danzer, that's for sure. So Danzer, sorry, I can only use you once a year. I'll go through the drivers as I go on of who I used and who I didn't use. So with that being said, that's our race results. That's done. So on to next week's High Miler Nationals. But with that being said, folks, we're going to bring on our guest now. That's why I'm so flustered. I just want to get through all this shit. I just want to get straight to our guest here, Larry. And it's only fitting to bring this guy on to this song. So, ladies and gentlemen, oh, here we go. It's so fitting. Ladies and gentlemen, as I bring him on, he's legendary. He is synonymous with Sandusky Speedway. We call him the Godfather. He is the creator. He is the founder of the High Miler Nationals at Sandusky Speedway. Ladies and gentlemen, put your hands together for the one, the only, Larry Booz.
Hey, Willie, how you doing?
Hey, Larry, how's it going, buddy?
Hey, it's I think like everybody else, it's we're sentimental right now. We really are. We're going into the weekend with excitement, but we're also going into the weekend, let's face it, with tears because we don't know what tomorrow will bring. But, you know, one thing I want to correct right off the bat is I appreciate all the accolades and everything that you mentioned, but I'm only a name. It takes a team. And we came in there in our early 20s as a team and took over that racetrack. And we worked well together. You know, I took all the praise. I took all the booze, but we all worked together. So I just want to clarify that. I mean,
right.
I challenge at that time anybody to do what we did with as few people as we did. And unfortunately, a lot of them are no longer with us. We miss them. But that We Will Rock You, that was fun. You got to remember back in the days when we did that, Bob and I came up with that. We didn't have all this technology that you guys have now. And we basically took a cassette player, put it onto another cassette, and, you know, probably the kids are scratching their head. What in the hell is a cassette? But anyways, that's how we did things. And it just sunk in. And then they're going to fly now. We are the champions. Bob and I, we'd sit during the week and just have so much fun coming up with ideas because we wanted to entertain the people and we wanted them to have a good time.
Right. So it's funny because last year when I was flagging, I messaged Kristen Castro. I told him, I said, you're going to play We Will Rock You on Saturday of High Miler. And he said, Kevin's Jaycox is going to kill me. I said, I don't care. Either he's going to kill you or I'm going to kill you. So you take your choice there. And so I turned to Kevin on Saturday. I said, he's playing We Will Rock You. He goes, I'll kill him. I said, yeah, I'm going to kill him if he does it. And so he hits it and it goes on. And like, you hear the stands, everybody stomping their feet and clapping their hands. And it's like, it was a time machine, as a time warp and being on the front straightaway. And I remember me being in the stands with my dad and doing that and knowing, you know, with my mom and my brother and my brothers and my dad, it just took me back into time because it was you and Bob that created that. And, you know, like I was saying, like the first time I ever went to Sandusky Speedway was 1979. I was 3 years old. You know, it's been 46 years that I've known of Larry Booz, you know, so I know that's probably, it doesn't make you feel any younger, Larry.
But you know, age is just a number. And, we just keep marching along and just enjoy every day that, you know, the good Lord gives us and make the most of it.
Absolutely. So Larry, let's go back. I mean, like, we understand that it took the whole team. And like you said, you took the praise, you took the booze, literally, but how did you come into possession of Sandusky Speedway? What year was that?
Well, it's a long story, and I'll give you the condensed version. But as you talk about your dad, mom, and family, that's how I got started. Every Sunday at the time, we had our seats, our row at Sandusky Speedway, and we never missed a race. And after I graduated from high school in 1970, yes, look in the history books, there was a 1970. I became a fan at Sandusky and always the first one in line at the old garage door, waiting for that garage door to come up so I could buy my ticket. Well, Labor Day weekend, when half the help was up at Oswego at the Classic, Bill opened the door and said, "I need help tonight. Anybody want to help?" And naturally, how do you say no? So I was on the safety crew that night. Cloudy, miserable night, and looked like rain, and get ready to play the national anthem, and I fall off the safety truck and tear the ligaments in my ankle. So I hold up the show. But long story short, that was in 1971 when Bill reopened the track. And the next year I came on board working with him doing the program, working with Speedway Press up at Oswego, coming up with the weekly program, sending out the news releases, and working at the dreaded Norwalk Raceway Park when Bill took that over. That was not one of my fan favorites working over there, but when you're working for Bill Bader, you do what Bill Bader tells you. And so anyways, long story short, in 1977, at the end of the year, he told me, "Larry, I'm not coming back. I'm going to devote everything at Norwalk." So I was devastated, as we are this year. And so I went to my good friend, Bob Neubauer, who I worked with at Sandusky, and Harold Tiny Leusler. God bless him.
Oh, God, yeah, I remember Tiny.
We pulled our money together, what little money we had, and we approached the Decker family and said, "We'd like to lease the track." And if anybody knows Dick Decker, he was probably more bullheaded than me. And so he kind of hesitated and everything, but finally he says, "Yeah, have at it." So that was 1978. We took over our team. And I think it was called Pace Setter Promotions or something like that at the time. Bill was All Ohio Sports International. But so we took it on, and I think so that was 1978. So I was 26 years old. And we had it till 1989. And we started out on Sundays, and we all remember the controversy about 3 or 4 years into our gig when Larry Mattingly and George Eisenhart said that they were dropping the super modifieds. So I had told them a long time ago, "You drop the super modifieds, we're going Saturday nights." And it happened. We did. And it was the best thing that ever happened to Sandusky Speedway.
Absolutely.
And we integrated quite a few new shows. We were very successful to have great crowds, great attendance, great loyalty and respect amongst the racers. And so let's go back into your questions, and I'm going to steer you. Is it the Nationals or is it the Classic?
Yes.
Well, you know what? The event this weekend is the Nationals. It's the High Miler Nationals. It started out as the Sandusky 100.
Okay.
Years ago, back about the time the International Classic started, the Decker family had their version of the International Classic, and then it went into the Sandusky 100. And Bill may have called it the Sandusky Nationals one year, but in 1978, it was the Sandusky 100, and we had no sponsors. I didn't know how to get a sponsor. But in 1979, our second year there, I went to District Petroleum up on Milan Road in Sandusky. And our family had always bought fuel from them. So I talked to Scott Stipp and his promotions gal, who's no longer with us, Diana Halcomb. And we struck a deal. And so the High Miler Nationals were formed. And, Scott's job was to bring the trophy queen. That's all he wanted to do, was get the trophy queen. And Diana and I worked on the promotions. Back then, there was like 12 stores. And everybody that came down from Oswego couldn't wait to go to the High Miler Nationals. None of them knew that there was such a thing as High Miler. I don't know how many times we had to call everybody and say it's the High Miler. And so finally, my good friend Rick Nelson. He kind of helped, got Jamie Moore and everybody to understand, hey, it's the High Miler. But anyways, I think it's probably one of the longest standing sponsorships in all of auto racing.
Yeah. Oh, really? Wow. I've never even thought about looking back to that, but yeah, I mean, I guess if you measure up NASCAR with everything that they've had going on over all the years with their sponsors, flip back and forth. Yeah, definitely. Wow. I guess when did Budweiser come into the International Classic at Oswego? So
yeah, that's true. But yeah, because I can remember the Clydesdales forever. So yeah. But so I'm glad that through the years after I left, our team disbanded in 1989. I was so glad to see it keep going through Junior, Osite, now Kevin picking it up and maintaining that relationship, because it's a great relationship. And
that's good. That's good. Yeah. And I know that High Milers fell on some hard times over the last few years though, too. And for them to still stay dedicated to that race at the racetrack is, that's special right there. And so for you guys that don't know, from up there, from the Northeast or from Oswego area, that's never been down to the High Miler Nationals, it's a convenience store. It's your local corner gas station that, you want to pick up a bag of chips and a soda and, maybe a microwave hoagie or something like that. That's what High Miler is. It's a gas station store, like your Speedways or your whatever. But it's more of a local market though type of store though. It's family owned. It's close. They're not national or anything like that. It's just right around Northeast Ohio area. I know they branched out to Lorain County a few times. And then, they might have sold the store off or whatever, but it's always been around like the Huron, Erie County area. Wouldn't you say, Larry?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yep. So for you guys that don't know, so you had your first, okay, was 1978 or 79. I'm sorry. Was
the first High Miler was 79.
Okay. Your first
lapper was in 78.
Okay. So how did that go off for you? Did it go smooth? Was there any hiccups? It's a big race first year. How'd that go for you?
It was our marquee event, that and, of course, the cavalcade. Those were the two that everybody looked forward to.
Yep.
And back in those days, the track was not real racy. It was very slick. And the local guys, they had it dialed in. They knew it. But the New York guys, they come down and they couldn't get a grip. And so it took several years. And then another good friend of ours that entered the equation is my promotions person, Sue Hayes. Sue, I think she could sell ice to an Eskimo. And I'd send her up to Oswego to start talking to people and getting them to come down. And it was tough back when we were doing it on Sundays, because Oswego was still racing on Saturday nights. So, it was a long haul for them to come down on Sunday.
Yeah. So folks, hold on real quick, Larry. Yes. High Miler for the first 3 years was on a Sunday afternoon, or 2 years?
2 or 3. I don't know the.
Yeah. 2 or 3 years was on a Sunday afternoon. There was no Friday show. There was no Fast 40.
Correct. It was a one-day show. Mm-hmm.
It was a one-day show. It was a Sunday 100 lapper. So this is what Larry's getting into. I'm sure a lot of you guys don't know that, and we're here to help you guys and let you guys know. So go ahead, Larry. I'm sorry for interrupting.
No, hey, not a problem. And so actually then we really became good friends through Speedway Press with the Caruso family. And when we went to Saturday night, then they agreed that, hey, let's work together, and we'll shut down on the Saturday night of the High Miler Nationals. So then that's when Friday developed. And back then, I mean, we were blessed with like 40 cars for the event. And that was when the sprint cars, the upright sprints, were still very, very competitive and winning. Not on a long race, but on a short race. So that's when our gang sat down during the week and we discussed, let's come up with the Sprint Roadster Showdown. And that's when on Friday night, before the Fast 40, or I believe that's what it's called now, but before that, it was a Sprint Roadster Showdown. We had a sprint feature, we had a roadster feature, and then the top so many from each went into the finale. And if that didn't get the buzz going, nothing else did. And so
You-
that,
and you-
and then we had our notorious corn roast and parties and stuff like that. We made it a true event. And then we went into Saturday, and just the hype behind it, the rivalry between Buckeye versus New York, and who can beat Dave Schulich. And then when Les Alexian came in and he started running good, and of course the Gibson, the names are just too many to remember, but it was magic. And we were really blessed with the New York cars starting to come down, and they really did well.
When did ISMA come into the picture?
It was never ISMA when I was there.
I thought it became ISMA like in like 83 or something like that.
Well, let's go back to me being bullheaded. It may have been ISMA, but by name only then.
Right.
Because we ran it our way.
Yeah, you ran. Yeah, there was no ISMA officials. It was Sandusky Speedway officials.
Yeah, maybe we should say it was more ISMA supported.
Right. Okay. Then. All right. Then I'm sorry about that. Yeah.
No, not a problem. And yeah, I do remember them coming down because I remember working with Jack Murphy and Dolores and everybody.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
So, I know so much about this, and it's just like I got so many questions, but whose idea was it to put the Coke syrup down in the corners?
Mine. Because we did it with the go-karts and stuff like that. And so actually I worked with Harry Kresser on that, if you remember back the name. We tried it one afternoon, and we tried it just in the second groove to see how it would work. And it worked. It didn't do the same as it did for the go-karts and stuff like that, but we gave it a shot, and we squirted it out there, and it helped develop the second groove that didn't exist at the time.
So how much did you use of that?
Oh, not very much. We put it in like 1 gallon jugs, and we probably put maybe 3 gallons at each end.
Okay. All right, then. Yeah. So was it the Coke syrup that you get out of like your fountain sodas, and you just?
Yeah, it wasn't Coke like out of a liter bottle or anything like that. It would be
right.
like the syrup that is used in your
fountain drinks.
Fountain drinks at Hi-Miler.
Yeah. Okay. All right then. Yeah. Let's see here. Bud sponsored the Oswego Classic the first time in 1981. So yes, right now you are right. Silliman just said Bud first sponsored the Oswego Classic in 1981. So yeah, I guess Hi-Miler is the longest running sponsor of well, not but it's one of the longest running ones for sure. Definitely longer than the Budweiser International Classic. So that's cool to know, and that's a great little stat right there. That unfortunately, and this might get a little emotional for me, Larry. I'm not going to lie. This hurts. This is painful. I've talked to a lot of friends about this over the last couple of weeks, and it's just one of those deals where this is a piece of my childhood that's being taken away from me, not by choice by any means. And my dad being there, and God rest his soul, but it's just one of those deals where I remember seeing you and as a kid and walking in, and Jimmy the cop and Tiny and Bob Neubauer with, here they come off of turn 4, bumper to bumper, door handle to door handle, and just God, man, it just this is going to be when I drop that checkered on Saturday. And Lord, I hope the weather works out for us.
Yeah.
There's going to be emotion in my eyes for sure. And because I know that's going to be probably the last time that I'm going to see a lot of people live in person, face to face. So, it's just, it sucks. It really does. But I understand. And I've gone through all this stuff. Hey, Al, how you doing, buddy? So Al Miller, our sponsor of the show's on. But so let's get back to the show here. I'm sorry for getting personal on everybody here. And it's probably won't be the last time. But we talked about the Coke syrup. Whenever the big boys from New York come down, who was always the one that you always watched out for, Larry? Who was the one that you always driver wise? Who was the one you always kept an eye on?
you know, I developed a lot of friendships with a lot of guys, and Jamie became a great friend. I was truly honored when Jimmy Champagne came down. He won on a Friday night event, and standing in victory lane with him was quite an honor. Doug Hevron and Tom, when they came down, I thought that was a great honor because, again, I was star-eyed kid and I was a race fan, and maybe that's why we didn't succeed like we should have, because I was a race fan before I was a businessman. And so seeing them all come down, I just, some of the funny stories, probably the funniest story.
Let's hear it.
On a Friday night, Sandusky had what you called, well, for lack of better terms, the sandbagging rule. You go 0.4 of a second over your time, you're
Right.
black flagged. And back then, you were black flagged. You didn't go to the tail and get to start over. You were black flagged. So on a Friday night, I had to black flag Bob Stelter. And afterwards, here comes Bob Stelter to the tower. Excuse me, I have never been black flagged for going fast. I thought that was the name of the game, to go fast. So we had to sit down and explain it to him and everything. And he just shook his head. And I mean, he knew it wasn't going to change anything, but he didn't understand the black flag. And then, we again tried to be fan friendly. And, how you were talking about earlier, what happened Saturday night up at Oswego, we had a formula on how to line up the high miler. And back then, nobody started fast on the pole. It was always inversions, whether it be in the heat race or this or anything else. So I'm trying to explain, here's the heat race. This is how it's lined up. This is how many invert. This is how many advance. When you get advanced, then Warren Conium raises his hand at the driver's meeting and says, Bose, I'm not a math major and I don't understand a damn thing you're saying. Can you explain how to line up the race? And I said, Conium, follow the chalkboard. That's all you got to do. And so, it was a big learning curve for the New York guys. All the local guys, they understood it. And then the night, because I was involved with dirt tracks back at the time as well. So the very first high miler, and I don't know the year, but I still see the picture circulating. I told the guys, okay, guys, tonight for the feature, for the parade lap, we're going 4 abreast.
I've seen that. Yeah.
And their eyes opened up, their jaws dropped, and they said, there is no way super modifieds can go 4 abreast. And I said, you're going to do it. And this was back before the receiver one-way radios.
Right.
Well, it was all on their shoulders to pull it off. And Willie, they did it. And you talk about another buzz in the crowd. That was absolutely amazing. The guys pulled it off. It was flawless. And thank God nobody climbed a wheel, but it worked out well. So yeah, so many things our team was proud of for the things that we incorporated that today are more commonplace.
Right. So Larry brought up the corn roast, used to have the Friday night corn roast out there in the open section on the north end of the racetrack. And we're going to be having a Sandusky Speedway reunion on Saturday if the weather cooperates. So if you guys want to come on down there to that, Larry's actually in charge. Larry, go ahead and talk about that.
Yeah, we're having a combination Sandusky 78-89 era / High Miler Nationals reunion picnic. And we're offering for $5, you get your choice of a hot dog or a burger, baked beans, which I'm actually cooking tonight. I'm starting on that, Larry the chef. And applesauce, chips. We're going to have some cookies and a drink for $5. Now we're encouraging people to either Venmo us or send me an email that they want to attend, because I don't know how much to prepare. And then Willie, I mean, there's no beating around the bush. We're all watching the weather, and I agree with you. Today, I think a lot of people are maybe canceling a little bit early. That's a touchy subject because racing isn't as strong as it was back in our day. but with social media, you can do so much now within 2 hours of an event. Back then, you know, you had that 625-4084 ringing nonstop, and we had one line coming in, and so I'd put Ida Justice there or somebody and just answering the phone. And a big story on that is I always told them, we're racing. It's not raining here.
I'm going to tell a story. But you tell yours. I'll tell mine after you're done.
Well, so one night I'm answering the phone and it's pouring down raining. All of a sudden I pick up the phone, Sandusky Speedway. Hear this voice. Are you racing tonight? Yes, we are. Is it raining there? No, it's not. All of a sudden they said, stick your damn head out the office and look down at the payphone. It was Mike Place calling from the payphone to see if we were racing when he knew it was raining. And right about then, a crack of lightning hit and thunder. He says, now you better change your story. But we ended up racing that night.
So this is a true story. And I think I might have told you this, but I know I haven't told you guys this. We lived out in Elyria, which was about 45-minute drive back then in those days we were east of Sandusky. And Dad, you know, it's pouring rain, thunder, lightning, cracking, the whole 9 yards. And Dad calls the racetrack, and you actually answered the phone and said, Larry, you know, this is Pat, you know, coming in from Elyria. You know, what's the weather look like out there? Pat, it's beautiful. It's sunny out, blah, blah, blah. My mom's in the background. She goes, did you think he was going to tell you it wasn't raining there? He looks at me, goes, boy, get together. Let's go. We're going out there. My mom's like, you're just wasting gas driving all the way out there. So we drive out there, and that's back in the day where Route 2, you had to pull off and drive through Huron, and then you jump back on Route 2 again. So right as we jump right back on Route 2 again, the sky's parted, the sun is out, it is beautiful outside. There's not rain, there's like nothing touched the ground out there at Sandusky. And we go out there, we watch a full thing of racing, and we come back home, and, you know, we got back home like 11:30, midnight-ish or something like that, you know. And I remember Mom was waiting up. She was sitting there in her chair, in her nightgown, and she's just ready to give Dad the riot act. And he says, before you say anything, talk to the boy, meaning me. I said, Mom, it was so great, blah, blah, this and that. And he goes, it didn't. She goes, it got it in? I go, yeah. She goes, it rained. He goes, it just stopped raining here an hour ago. I'm like, yeah, well, I mean, so it's that Ohio funky weather. It'll go around, but the joke of the story is that was Larry ever going to say it was not raining? No, you know. So
we may have been known to exaggerate the truth a little bit.
Yeah, because
but in all honesty, our motto back then was, we're not giving up. If there's any, I can remember one Father's Day when it rained so hard, we had the Perkins Township Fire Department there actually pumping water, and we were actually pumping it over to Pat Patterson's campsite. But anyway, and we had to use pickup trucks to get the people from their cars to the gates because there was so much water, and we still ran. But the drivers hated it because, again, this was before the repaving and the weepers in turn 3. I mean, these guys, super modifieds, they were like dirt tracking it in turn 3 because they were running through water.
Right.
But, of course, the expenses weren't what they are today, the overhead and everything else. So, right. You know, most everybody knew if you can get it in, they're going to get it in. And
yeah.
So.
And I think that's the mentality he's going to have for Saturday. You know, I think he's going to try everything in his power, and he's just going to tell the township, you know what, I'll take whatever you're going to give me. You know, it is whatever it is. So my wife, Jean, she asked a good question. And I'm going to ask this one first. And she's asked two good questions. Did people always come with their campers and party for the High Miler? What made that happen? Because Florida tracks are nothing like that down here.
We always had the camping, and But you got to remember, this was back in the early 80s, and there weren't as many RVs and campers. Like your family had the Class C, and that was kind of like a Taj Mahal of campers back then.
It was,
Uh,
yeah.
but the back row, I think we only allowed camping in the back 2 rows. And basically, you didn't have Hell's Half Acres. You had like 25 feet wide, and what you could get in there, you got in there. And, Floyd Schmeyers and them, they were back in the corner.
Big John.
I'm having a brain fart here. Doug Sawyer's sponsor. But they were always back in the corner.
Oh, Miss K. Was it Miss Kelly?
Yeah, I believe so. And then we only allowed a small amount of campers up along the woods, up like from your dad's going north. But camping was big at the High Miler, huge at the Cavalcade.
Yeah.
And but we loved to party. We loved to party.
Yeah. So she also asked another question too. Dave Lander said 79 was the first year for the 4 abreast. What was your favorite High Miler is what my wife Jean wants to know.
I think they were all, I'm going to be political on this one. And I think they were all special. They really, really were. Was
there that one that just stood out more than others though?
Willie, I'm old.
No, speaking of that, I got Todd Buchanan was making fun of your age. He goes, Larry's not going to remember half the things that you're asking him.
Yeah, no, I was, my biggest downfall was I didn't delegate. I tried to do everything. So, everything was so busy. But right now you caught me off guard. I can't tell you which one was the best.
Right.
Probably the first one, maybe just because we pulled it off. And then we introduced the fireworks on the introductions. We did so many things that they were just all neat.
So when I was a kid, for you guys, I know that, when Larry had the track, High Miler was a big, grandiose show. It was, you didn't know what was coming next. Every High Miler was always something a little bit different. Something was the same. You knew it was coming. And when the national anthem played, you looked up into the sky and you seen skydivers coming down with the American flag and the Canadian flag. How did that come to fruition?
Again, Bob Neubauer and myself and Tiny, we just sit down during the week and we just bench race and we talk about ideas. And if anybody follows me on Facebook knows that I'm big into like going to theater shows, sporting events, county fairs. Everywhere you go, you learn, you copy. And so we just took what worked best at maybe other racetracks, at other events, and I'd put it all on Bob's shoulders, and I'd say, Bob, make it happen. And
I got to get Bob on here now.
Anybody that knows Bob, it was like, wait, explain to me. You want me to do what? Ain't going to happen. And it happened. We always pulled it off.
So I remember, like I told you guys about the experience, and Sandusky still to this day, they have, the old light system, and, but I remember we show up to the racetrack and there's this, the pipe scaffolding behind the, the main grandstand, and it's on top of where the bathroom roof is. And there's this contraption. We didn't know what it was. And he turned the lights off, and all of a sudden, like, you had this big spotlight, and the drivers were coming out underneath the flag stand. Like, Larry, you really made it a show. You made an experience. You made High Miler what it is. And like for the people that are in their 50s and their 40s, and it was one of those deals where it's like, what is going to come out next is what made this race so special for all of us. And we are so super grateful for you, in your crew and your staff and everybody that did everything, for just, I can't tell you how thankful I am for giving me a great childhood. You were a huge part of that for me as a kid. And I'm not going to get into all the details, but my release was Sandusky Speedway. And, where I could get out and I could have fun and I can run around. And I've made so many great friends there, because of what you did. I got a friend, John Hennis, and I met him when I was 5 years old, and we're still friends today. It's my longest friend that I've had in my life, and he will always be a friend. He's like a brother to me, and obviously what's going on with Casey and, being John's nephew and Rhonda and, that's being Rhonda's son. It's just like, it's just unbelievable, but it's funny how it's come full circle. And I like, God, man, this is tough. But Lenny Fowler asked a good question. And you, of all people, I like to ask this question. You were always going big. You were always going big. You always were thinking outside the box. Did you ever think about bringing in another series, another open wheel series other than the super modifieds, like the tour modifieds or anything like that?
Well, we had one of the very first All-Star Circuit of Champions sprint car races.
Right, yes.
On a midweek. I believe it is on a Wednesday night. And a funny story on that, if, everybody knows our speaker system sucked quite badly. And back then, I would climb the wheel fence, literally climb the wheel fence with some electrical tape and pliers and get up there and patch the speaker together so it would work. So I'm on a Wednesday afternoon and, Bert Emick comes in, the head of the All-Stars. God bless him. He just passed away. He says, Bose. I said, what? He had that gravelly old voice. He's like, I need you to come back in the pits. I want you to meet this kid. And I said, Bert, I'm busy. I haven't got time to meet some kid. Well, it was Jeff Gordon.
Yeah.
And he said, I want you to meet him. This kid's going to go somewhere. And so I come down and did my obligatory walk to the pit area to meet this 14-year-old Jeff Gordon. Dang, if the kid didn't go out and win the race that night.
Oh, yeah, he did.
And so, yeah, we had them in there. And, back then, we had USAC Sprints. Lost financial loser, big time. We had them. And back when we had the ICAR Super Modified Series, we had them. But there weren't a whole lot of pavement series. We never brought in like what we call the New England Modifieds. We never had them come in. We had different sanctioning groups for the late models. And then we had the ASA cars with
and I definitely
talk about go big. So what do? We get Dale Earnhardt, Bobby Allison to come to the event. And back then, again, I tell you, I was a race fan. I said, man, all you have to do is tell people ASA is coming to Sandusky. You're going to pack the grandstands. I mean, we put fence in the infield to hold the overflow crowd that never showed up. That was a biggest financial loss in my history, and actually led to our departure.
Oh, really?
Yeah, Bentley. That was the first year that Bentley came on board. We were buying the track. He made me his partner, and I don't lie to anybody, but we lost $72,000 on that show. And back in the late '80s,
87
was that
1987?
Yeah.
Wow.
So things just kind of went south from there.
So you came up with a great idea, and I really wish Sandusky would have stuck this out for a while. And I don't, and maybe you can clear this up. So you started a super late models nationals where you had a super modified nationals, but then you had a super late model nationals where it was a 2-day show also as well. Do you remember that?
Absolutely not. Would that be the main event?
No, it was just a Sandusky Speedway super late model race. I remember Tracy Leslie won both nights, and
really?
It was a Friday. It wasn't a cavalcade. Just you did it in July. I want to say you did it 4th of July weekend. You might have done it.
Would that have been with? I think it was called the Fast Series. Maybe
it might have been.
Out of Michigan.
Yeah.
Yeah. back in the day, and to this day, I will always say Sandusky was a super modified track. Late models were like the outcast. We always did well. I can remember one year we had 83 late models at a cavalcade. And they always did well at the cavalcade, but that was their signature event. We did. Yeah, I do remember we worked with, I can't remember his name. Bill. I don't think Bill Pearsall, maybe. Anyways, from the Fast Series, and we tried a 2-day show, and racing phenomenal, and but it just didn't kick in like we had hoped it would.
Yeah. So all right. Well, this is a high miler show. Let's get back to high miler here. So talked about Larry and how he had the show, he had the hoopla, just so phenomenal with all that stuff. Do you got any funny stories from it? What's your funniest story that you got from that time span?
Well, I think just, as I mentioned, just the driver meetings and talking with the drivers and educating them. And then Lester Weidemeyer, and God bless him, he's no longer with us, but Steve Gioia and his family, true family, great family. I equate them to kind of like the Hennesses. But anyways, they nicknamed Sandusky Larryland.
Oh, yeah.
And Sandusky Speedway to everybody in New York became Larryland because you had to do what Larry said. If you didn't, you were out to lunch. And so Lester one night, and I think it was during a high miler, the big rock right past the little house as you pulled in the driveway.
Yep.
There was a big ass rock sitting on that right-hand side of the driveway. And I come in one morning and there spray painted is Larryland. And I just cracked up. So I guess maybe that would be one of the funniest stories.
It stayed on there for quite a few years too, folks. So as you're pulling in, the little house is on the right-hand side, and it was a big slab of concrete for whatever, a rock or whatever it was.
It was from the old putt-putt is where it was from. Yeah.
Oh, okay. So, and it said in bold white, I remember it said Larryland. And I remember we come driving in, we had the camper, and I remember Dad just like, oh, boys must done started early already this weekend. So
yeah.
Another funny story that I can tell you about High Miler 2. You had a no blanket held overnight clause. Do you remember that?
Boy, Willie, you're intelligent.
So Larry.
Yeah, because we cleaned the trash every night and everything.
Yep.
And
so you couldn't leave your blanket down overnight to reserve your spot. So Friday night, everybody just leaves their blankets up there, and then the next day, Saturday. So the new people that are coming in on Saturday that didn't come on Friday, they're sitting down in the bottom 3 rows, because literally from turn 4 to turn 1 was literally just packed from top to bottom, standing room only for high milers back in those days. And so Larry said, that's it, to make it fair for everybody. You got to take your blankets with you. And if you didn't take your blankets with you, I'm going to throw them over to the end of the fence on the north end of the open field of the racetrack. And sure enough, I remember our camper was literally right around the corner from there, and here comes Larry. He's got this big bundle of blankets, and he's walking, he's just chucking them over the fence. He talks about how bullheaded he is, but yeah, if Larry said don't do it, he did it. And people were all mad about it. I remember stuff like that. I remember as a kid, we took ours down. We listened to Larry. And I remember when that garage door came up, I remember I just shot through there so I can run up there. I can reserve our spots, and had the electrical tape and had the put the blankets down so we had our spots ready to go. But I wasn't the only one doing it, though. There was a whole line of us ready to do that.
Yeah, I remember. Yeah, and that old garage door stayed down, and nobody got in, and nobody from the pits was allowed to come up and do anything until the main gate opened, because we wanted to take care of the fans. But I think the biggest thing our team did back then, and everything I'm still involved with, whether it's the Rumble or, whatever, we go for respect and treat everybody the same. And So I couldn't let one blanket down, and I'm starting to remember that. And this is going way back, but the stalwart down there, Checkpoint Charlie, was not where it is now. It would, because Kevin and them redid the wheel fence, but our guard of Checkpoint Charlie was Big John Evans, and whenever I would make an announcement like that, Budweiser in hand, he'd turn around and he'd look at me like, who do you think you are making that announcement? And he'd just shake his head and everything. So, and then you talk about Jimmy Gambrell, our sole police officer from Perkins Township Police Department.
God bless him.
And I told Jimmy what we're going to do. And man, his old eyes opened up and the white of his eyes look out. And he said, brother, you're going to have your hands full. But we pulled it off. And
absolutely.
But going back to the respect, another funny story, not directly High Miler related, but everybody knew as a fan, you talking earlier, you were talking about who you cheer on, with the Al Millers and different like that. Everybody knew that I would drink Todd Gibson's bathwater. He was my hero. And Todd he would challenge you. I'm Todd Gibson. I can do what I want. And I think it was like the second or third year, and Junior Buchanan, God bless him, back in staging, he's lining the cars up for a heat race. And I'd say, send them. And this was back before they came up over the hill. Actually, it's when they went all the way around turn 1 and 2, came on the back stretch. They're lining up behind the Foster Chevrolet pace car, and Junior comes across the radio, says, Gibson just pulled up. And I said, he's late. Tell him he can't race. He said, you want me to tell Todd Gibson he can't race? I said, yes. And he didn't race. And nobody missed a race thereafter, because they said if he's going to park Todd Gibson, he's going to park anybody. So we earned the respect as a team, and nobody at the end of the night second guessed the call, because that was the call. Everybody on the ship stayed afloat, and we made the ship sail.
Yeah. It's one of those things where I just talked about, with Oswego, don't let the prisoners run the asylum. And that's exactly what you did. So even with it being your favorite race car driver, you still said to yourself, like, look, this is what I have to do. You set a precedent, and people followed it. And that's great. It really is. And I know Larry's watching. I've talked with Larry a couple times already, with too many times since all this news has came out. And Larry's talked about how he used to sell the programs there for, I think he said he made a nickel off of every program that he sold there. And then I talked about John Hennis, and he sold them for, I forgot who he told me he sold them for. He's going to probably comment on here right now.
Kenny Graber and his wife.
That's who John Hennis and I sold them for, was for Kenny Graber and for the great Mr. and Mrs. Graber. And we made a quarter off of each one.
Wow.
Yeah, we made a quarter off of each one. Yeah, so that was in the
Larry. In the late 80s, my mom was running the novelty stand, and the Gibsons would get there, and Larry would he couldn't even see over the counter, so he'd put his arms up on the counter and perch himself up, and everybody called my mom Granny. Bill Dater started that. So he said, Granny, I want a job. And so yeah, and how you going to tell a little kid that you don't want to buy a newspaper or a program,
right?
But so many memories that I'm hoping that people can come out this weekend. Hell, even if it rains, just come on out. And
yes,
some of the best parties at Sandusky Speedway were under those grandstands. We'd put pickle juice down on the concrete, and we'd have pickle juice sliding races all the way down the concrete. We used to see Nancy Hennis and Barb Ensign getting fights at the beer counter. Oh my Lord. We had so many memories, and no troubles. In the 11, 12 years we were there, I think about the only fight I can remember was George Miles and Rusty Adams during a cavalcade. Other than that, everybody, race fans are amazing. They watch out for each other.
So Larry says, do you remember driving his dad's Super?
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. And so I had this thing that I would like to hot lap cars, and Todd was the very first one to let me in it. And so I went out there by myself and hot lapped. And then I did Nancy Hennis's, Nancy was a boss, Ron Hennis's car. And I did the 99 with Harold, Johnny Logan's car.
Did you really? Even Logan's car?
Yeah. And then Joe Grunda. And Joe said, the only way I'm going to let you hot lap my car is you go out in hot laps with everybody else. And I thought I was going to pee my pants. And so I did it. I turned in third fastest lap of the night. Nancy wanted to fire Joe. I thought that was great. But going back to Todd's car, I didn't know anything about super modifieds. He's explaining to me, my theory of tech is if the car doesn't start, you call AAA. I don't know anything about that. He's telling me about you got to pull this out and do this. And so anyways, the push truck pushed me, and I thought that, oh, wow, this is wild. This is cool. And hey, I'm in Cedar Point. And then I pull that thing out, whatever it is. I guess it starts the fuel, or who knows what in the hell it is. But that kicked in, and it threw me back in the seat. And I said, boys, this is real. And but the drivers, again, it goes back to family. We were all a family. Right. We got mad, but nobody held grudges. And thank God, I'm going to go back to, you were talking earlier about the social media and Randy's unfortunate call Saturday night. We didn't have social media, thank God. Because if anybody had a gripe, you had to send a letter to the editor of Mid-American or Speed Sport, and that took a week. So nobody did it. They griped to each other. Now, and I don't know how many kids you have watching, but if I farted right now, the whole world would know it, and they'd want to know how it smelled. I know with social media, it is so cruel. It's a contest to see who could be the meanest. And Randy did a nice post a few weeks ago talking about the dilemma of racetrack promoters today. And Kevin, I mean, that's kind of what prompted what this whole weekend is about. You get tired of it. My biggest scenario is like behind me is this wall, and that's what a promoter is. It's that wall. Somebody can throw mud against that wall. They can take a crayon and write against that wall. They can spit on the wall. They can kick it, and that wall can't do anything. It's just got to sit there and take it, because the minute you fire back or answer, you've just put 5 gallons of fuel on the fire. So, Bob had a family. My racetrack was the family, but we have lives and we have a heart and we have feelings, and it hurts when we see that, because we don't deliberately do anything to take away from the sport that we love so much. It's a hard business. We're making a business out of everybody's hobby.
Yeah, that's true. There's no better way. That's perfectly said right there. When I met my wife, Jean, she'd never been to a race a day in her life. When I moved down here, 11 years ago now, she never been to a race. I met her, I think our second or third date or a third time out was to a racetrack. I took her to East Bay, and she didn't know nothing about it. And, she was already friends with me on Facebook. So she had known that I was already very much submitted into it. And then they opened up 417 Speedway, which is now closed there in Punta Gorda. And I had got the phone call on opening day, like, hey, look, I heard you're a flagman up in Ohio living down here now. Do you want to come flag the track? And I said, yeah. And I think after maybe the first 2 or 3 weeks, she goes, you really have a thankless job. Like, if no matter how good you do, or no matter how bad, or how bad you are, you're going to hear about it either way. It's just a thankless job. And when she said that, it kind of really set in. And it's like, you got to have skin of leather, and you got to be able just to go ahead and just take it. But I guess in Kevin and Randy's situation, you could only take so much for so long before it's just like, that's it. I'm done. I got to walk away from it, So social media has definitely been a big killer when it comes to, local short track racing. But there's a whole other formula, many other things that are also contributing to that though too, but it's just, it's unfortunate. It really is. So over all the years that you've been at Sandusky Speedway, you've developed a lot of friendships with a lot of really cool, neat people. And one person I want to ask you about is Tim Richmond. How did you and Tim Richmond come to know each other?
Just through his racing. He was actually the champion, I believe, in 77, the year before we took over. And Tim came in under his dad, Al, and Ruth Packing. And, he came in as the rich boy, and his dad worked hard to promote him, no differently than Tom Heveron did with Doug. And so, we got to know him, and he was a people person. He got it. He knew that he was a racer, but he had to be a promoter, not only of himself, but of racing. So, what good is it for him to race if he didn't have people watching the races? So he started out, and really, he stunk. When he started out in the sprint car, he really didn't go anywhere. And, I'm not going to go into this story. I hate to even open up the can of worms, but the 3-wheel, one on one side, one on the other. Tim was the one that came out and tried it at Sandusky.
Yeah.
I'm just going to leave it at that and just say, believe what you want, but I know what really happened. And I was there, and so was Bob Neubauer. But we're not, that's a whole nother show. But anyways, so then he went to the Roadster, and he opened eyes, and he tried some USAC sprint racing. And I can remember, he was driving the Folgers car. And one Saturday morning, Rob Nattol, Chris Cappuccini, me, Paul Schaefer, God, the names, and that's all going to bring me to tears. But we decided we're going to go to Bristol to race. And we go down to Bristol that afternoon, stay overnight somewhere, and go to the race, buy our ticket, go down in the pits, and there's Tim. And he just greeted us with open arms, and everybody's like, who are these people that Tim Richmond's talking to him? And we talked for like 40 minutes, and he never forgot his roots. And then, again, going back to Sue Hayes, she put together a Tim Richmond Day, and we did that at the Speedway. And Tim was just so gracious with the people. He was a great guy.
Yeah. What other synonymous relationships did you make through Sandusky Speedway?
Rick and Kathy Nelson from up at Oswego. They became very, very close friends. They would come down, and every week we would, of the High Mile, they took vacation. And every year, this was before Bentley had the crazy idea to put an 8-foot concrete wall on the backstretch. We had that guardrail. And every year, High Miler week was paint the guardrail week. And we never knew. One year it was blue and yellow. I think one year it was orange and white, red, white, and blue. But that was their job, to paint the guardrail. And Mike Murphy, God, all these friends that are no longer with us. Mike's job was to paint the logo on the front stretch. And we had fun. We did it. We painted the guardrail. We painted the logo. And we'd go to races. We went to Kokomo, Wayne County. We just made a hellacious week out of it. But that's what you don't forget, is all the good times. And there were just so many. Right. I wished I kept better log, and unfortunately when I left in 1989, I left a lot of stuff because it was a quick move. I was pretty bitter at the time, the way everything happened. And I had so many things that were left there that got trashed. And it was so many memories, and I miss them. But one thing you're never going to take away is up here, the memories, and they'll live forever.
So I know it's a High Miler show, but you brought it up, and I'm just going to go ahead and just keep rolling with this for a little bit. We got about another 5 more minutes, but you wound up going over to Eldora with Earl, right?
Yeah. Biggest break I ever had. Worked there for 30 years. And little did I know that he had been scouting me all the while I was at Sandusky. Like twice a year, Terry Baltus, Earl's son, would show up after the races and start talking to me. What in the heck are you doing here, Terry? Taking the family to Cedar Point. And so he had been scouting me. And then in 1991, he called me to the house, and he did everything out of, I called it a broom closet in his house. It was a little office. And he had Todd around and was telling his typical Earl stories. And he said, how would you like to come to work for me? I mean, I think he was going to offer me like a whole $12,000 a year or something. Earl didn't spend money. But, you know, how do you say no to Earl Baltus? And the doors that he opened, and to have, anybody can say what they want about me. They can slander me. They can talk about me. But in my mind, to have the trust of Earl Baltus meant as much as anything in the world. And he opened so many doors for me and allowed me so many privileges that we started a lot of the same traditions that we did at the High Miler at Eldora. Earl thought I was crazy. And I can remember when I told him I wanted a weed eater. I mean, back then he gave you a pair of scissors and he went around and cut weeds. And he didn't believe in trash bags. Oh, Lord. But he was an old bullheaded Taurus German like me. And we fought like cats and dogs, but we respected each other and we got great things done.
You really was a very big part in the growth of that track to what it is now. I mean, that track wasn't Eldora that it is now. You got to see the transformation and what it became and what it is now. And you were a big part of that, you know, is my understanding. You know, we kind of lost, the Sandusky family kind of lost touch with you there. We knew you were there. If we came to Sandusky, we would see you, you know, but, you know, you were always busy. You know, Larry was doing Larry things. And it was definitely one of the success stories for Sandusky Speedway when you left and you went to Eldora, because we would see you on TV on an interview, or we'd see you in the background and be like, there's Larry,
Yeah.
you know? So, you know, I know that, you know, you were bitter and stuff like that. And, you know, better days came upon you, but I just want to let you know we were proud of you, and we were proud of what you became and what you've done with racing.
Well, again, I cannot emphasize enough that I'm only one person, and my blessings were in the friends. You know, and I'm not going to lie to you. I mean, I probably had a dozen people that maybe worked 3 or 4 nights with me and said, I can't work for you. And you know what, Willie, I couldn't work for me, but it's all in the heat of the battle of wanting to do good. And when it was over, it was over. We celebrated. I mean, we had a good time because we did it. Yeah, maybe I was the guy barking, but I can't do everything. And we all worked well. And I'm hoping that this weekend, Mother Nature allows us to have this fling. We all hope it's not the final one, but I mean, we have to face reality. It probably is. We still have the cavalcade and some more races, but daggone it, it's probably the last High Miler. And
Right.
I'm with you. I'm going to be in the tower announcing Larry Gibson's Outlaw Super Modified Sprint Series. I'm having a ball with that. A hell of a series.
I was going to get into that. Yeah.
And
Tell us all about it.
With that. And I'm hoping that Kevin will run that feature before the High Miler so that I can sit back one last time and probably, and like you, I'm choking up right now.
Yep.
Probably shed a lot of tears when that checkered flag comes down.
Yep, for sure. So how's that 350 series? We talked about it on the pre-show interview that I always do. Larry got a hold of you over the winter. Larry Gibson, that being, got a hold of you over the winter time and said, "Hey, look, do you want to come on board?"
Well, wait a minute. Let's go back.
Oh, okay.
Actually, who started it all, of all people, was my announcer, Bob Neubauer.
Oh, okay.
Bob, Larry wanted Bob to announce. Kevin Sears wanted Bob to announce. And Bob said, "No, I'm having a ball with Neubauer Family Racing." And then he said, "This series needs an announcer. We need to have some continuity. I want you to go talk to Larry." And then Doug got a hold of Larry, and then Larry called me. So,
Okay.
And then we struck a deal, and I probably suck as an announcer. I had fun working with Dave over at Lorain County, but Bob Neubauer taught me, don't talk at the people, talk to the people. And so when I announce, it's just like this. I'm having a conversation with the fans, and you know what? It's all these kids that were the kids of the people that I grew up with. So I'm seeing all the second generation drivers. And so I've got so many stories that I can share with the people. And
yeah.
And me, I don't shut up then. But I'm having a blast with it. And Larry's got a good, solid program. I'm hoping he sticks to it. He doesn't give into the what was the word you used? The inmates running the asylum.
Yep.
I hope that he keeps that iron fist, use that Gibson bullheadedness. And
he is.
The only thing he and I are arguing about, I'd like to open it up so more sprint cars could run with him, but he's got this thing on the right rear tire. And again, that's another story. And it's Larry's house, so I have to play by his rules.
That's what I tell him. I said, it's your sandbox. You got to play by your rules for sure. So yeah.
But I encourage everybody. But God, we need racetracks to race that.
So, yeah, for sure. They're dying off. So before we end this, I was talking to Larry.
Dead, Willie.
Huh?
My battery's going dead. Hurry up.
Okay. So give me a minute here. Okay. We'll be done here in about a minute. So
all right.
I haven't seen Larry in probably about maybe 20 years. I probably shot up about a foot, probably about a foot and a half since the last time he's seen me. My buddy Kyle Watson talks me into going to this go-kart track.
No.
He said, "Let's go to this go-kart track called BMI, man. It's out by Eldora. It's an indoor track." I'm like, "Dude, my cart's in pieces." He's like, "Don't worry about it. We'll put it all together." So he said, "Larry's running it." I said, "Oh, that'd be cool to see Larry, man. I ain't seen Larry in like 20 years, So I'm sitting out there. I'm unloading everything out of the back of the truck. And this door comes flying open out of nowhere. And it's Larry. I turn around. I'm like, "Oh shit, somebody's in trouble." And Larry, because Larry's my dad and Larry were good friends. Okay. So my dad and I, we can accept jokes. All right. Just let this settle in, folks. But Larry says, "Your kind isn't welcomed here." And I'm like, "Holy shit." Everybody's like, "Oh my God. Like, what is going on with Larry?" And I'm like shocked. I'm like, "Oh my God. Like, I can't believe you just did this."
Well, not only you, but everybody around you is like, looking, what did he just say?
Exactly. So Larry comes over, gives me a hug. I give him a hug. We're laughing, we're cutting it up and this and that. So fast forward to about an hour later. Now, Larry got me all shocked and everybody else shocked around. So we're having a driver's meeting. And so we're in the driver's meeting and Larry does a check. Like, I'm going to call on you and your name, you better say your name, because if not, you're going to start last in your heat race. So he goes around, he comes around to my division, he comes around to me, and he goes, "Will Patterson." I said, "I'm black." And everybody started like Larry, like he's like Larry says he likes to talk. I shut Larry up that time right there. Larry could. Nobody didn't know what to say or anything like that. And it was just, everybody was laughing. We were having a really good time.
Our greeting is, whenever I see Willie at a racetrack, he comes up to me and says, "I'm black."
Yeah. And Larry, we share that laugh. We're going to have that memory for as long as we're alive, and I'll never forget it. We talked about that in text messages.
Well, just a quick line on that, Willie. I'm going to live forever.
Oh, are you?
Right. Because I have a vow with the good Lord above that I cannot die until the Cleveland Browns win the Super Bowl.
Yeah, you're going to be living a really long time then. That's for sure. So, with that being said, it's a good laugh to end on. Larry, I got to clean it up. You mean the world to a lot of us, and a lot of us 50 and 40 something year olds and 30 some year olds. I mean, JD Evans, he wasn't even born, and he's already knows of your legacy and everything that you've done for Sandusky and everything that you've done for his dad and my dad and a lot of other dads out there. You mean the world to us. And let me tell you something, if you ever need anything, Larry, ever, I am always here for you. Always. You're like Uncle Larry to a lot of us, so just know that
boys call me Uncle Larry.
Yeah. So just know that, we all love you. It's a sad time what's going to be happening to our racetrack, and one that we love all so much. And I can't wait to see you. I don't know if you're going to be there on Friday.
I'm going up tomorrow.
Okay, then. All right.
Yeah, we have church on the backstretch.
Oh, I know that. And I'm going to come out to church on Saturday night.
Oh,
so
Lord.
yeah. Yep. So I'm going to come out to church on Saturday night. The boys have been talking. We have a group chat with Kyle Watson and JD Evans and Rob Evans. And yeah, so it's Danny Shirey. So it's a good hoot. We have a good group chat there, but I just want to say we love you. Thank you for everything that you've done. High Miler would not be what it is today in the legacy of the High Miler Nationals. And that's right, folks, the Nationals. Larry just confirmed it on here. But
Oswego is the classic, Sandusky is the Nationals.
Thank you very much. That's it, folks. Drop the mic. That's it. We can end this show right now. But Larry, I can't wait to see you. I'm going to give you a big old hug on Friday when I see you, buddy. And I'm going to give you my line.
Yeah. All right. Sounds
yep.
good.
So, but Larry, thank you so much.
I hope to see everybody up there, and let's share the love.
Absolutely. So, Larry, thank you so much for coming on here. This means the world to me. And I will see you on Friday. And folks, come on out to Sandusky Speedway, rain or shine. Let's share some stories. Let's share some laughs. Let's shed some tears. We're going to shed some tears. I'm telling you guys right now. So let's just get it all done and get it out of the way, holding each other, So Kevin, thank you very much, but I love you guys. Larry, thank you for coming on, and we will rock you just for you, sir.
Absolutely. Well, thank you very much. And thanks for what you and Dave are doing for the sport, and with the technology and everything, and keeping people informed and being positive.
Yep. I'm trying to my best, Larry, but sometimes it's difficult. So yeah. All right. Bye, Larry. Yep. So, all right, folks. I only welled up once during this show, so that's good. And thank you very much, Kevin. I do this. I do this for you guys. The same reason why I flag the way I flag, and I do it for you guys. I get no money out of this, literally at all. I do get enjoyment though. I really do. Talking with these people, sitting down, bench racing with these people, and just having a very good time. I appreciate it. So I want to make a small announcement. Just to let you guys know, it has been confirmed, so I can announce it now. Saturday afternoon before hot laps start, if the weather is good, I will be hot lapping a 350 super modified at Sandusky Speedway on Saturday. This will be a dream of mine, and I am so excited. Like, you guys have no idea. Now, I'm not going out there to set the track record. All right. I'm just letting you guys know that right now. I'm not going out there to set the track record. I'm just going out there just to say I took laps at Sandusky Speedway in a super modified. It's going to be in a 350 of Doug Neubauer's. Doug, the Neubauer family, thank you so much for this opportunity and let me go play in your car just for a few laps. Just means the world to me, and I am so greatly appreciative of it. And I'm glad that I've lost enough weight to where I'll be able to fit in the car comfortably and just take a couple laps. So, Dave, you got anything?
I will see you hopefully on Friday, but I will be back on the mic for the Great Lakes Truck Tour on Thursday at Sandusky Speedway, so you guys can catch me there. Heard we got about 13 to 15 trucks that are going to be there. and maybe call some races on Friday. I don't know quite yet, but for sure I will be on the mic for the Great Lakes Trucks out at Sandusky Speedway. Back where it all started for me, Willie.
Yep.
Where I got my first ever start on the microphone, so it's going to be kind of like emotional for me too as well. So just want to see the fans and the people in the stands out there have a great time and great high miler. Don't know if it's the last one. Hopefully it's not, but if it is, let's go out with a bang and rock the city of Sandusky with Sandusky Speedway.
Yeah, absolutely. 100%. I couldn't agree even more, Dave. Folks,
But if
I know we stress this all the time, but hit that like button, hit the share, let everybody know about this show, what's going on, get it into the algorithm. You know, like I said, we make no money off of this show. So folks, share the shit out of this show with your friends and your family and tell everybody about this. I'd greatly appreciate it. I know Dave would also as well. We will not have a show next week. All right. I'm just going to let you guys know that right now. Just going to take a week off. I'm going to do some traveling. Just want to just woosah for a moment. There's something going on with another podcast. They want to do a throwback to Sandusky Speedway and appreciation. So I'm going to take the week off. This is the first time I've told Dave about it too. So Dave, you got next Wednesday off. So, and Brian, thank you, Strickland, for Strickland Designs, doing everything you do. You got the week off, and then we're going to come back, and I got a pretty special promoter out of California that I got scheduled up already, and we'll go ahead and release him. Make sure his schedule works out, but yeah, we're just going to go ahead and take the week off and just enjoy the week, everybody. And I'll come up with some news with the other podcast that's going to do a throwback appreciation to Sandusky Speedway. But with that being said, folks, I will see most of you Friday, either walking through the grandstands or in the from the flag stand, waving them rags. And God bless America. You guys have no idea what this racetrack means to me. This is my childhood. You know, at 49 years old, I'm crying over a freaking racetrack closing. And I just wish my dad was here. I wish he was here to see this all go down. I know a lot of people miss him. I miss the shit out of him. I know I talk about him out here a lot, but wow, it's just this is hard. This is real hard. So that being said, I love you guys, and I'll see you guys on Friday.